Hi, this is Chico Resch. You are listening to the Let's Go Devils podcast on the Primetime Radio Network.
Happy Devils Tuesday! Welcome to Game Day Live, presented to the Let's Go Devils podcast and the Primetime Radio Studios, along with Crew Brew. Round 1, Game 5, best of 7, the Hurricanes. We would like to on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, wherever it is you get the podcast. I'm here with my good friend Sky, Short Sky. How we doing?
Doing good, Vinnie. How you doing?
Doing good. Is my picture a little laggy, but my sound is there?
Your picture was better than your sound, so your sound was a little laggy. So we'll have to get this figured out.
Sound was a little laggy. Interesting.
Yeah.
I think it looks like it's figured itself. Do I sound better now?
Yeah, you're sounding a little bit better now.
Devils Tuesday, welcome to Game Day. I'm not going to go through the whole thing again. But the New Jersey Devils, they fail to, get a lead in this series. They're down 3-1 to the Carolina Hurricanes. I mean, it's one of those things where sometimes when you're down 3-1 in a series, Shorts guy, It feels like you have what it takes to come back. A lot of times people believe like, oh, we could come back. Like, I bet Tampa Bay feels like they could come back. What's another team out east? Except probably Montreal. Probably not.
Ottawa
probably does because of their opponent in the playoff demons that they've dealt with. I definitely don't think they're even close to the same caliber of team. But if they win Game 5 tomorrow, I mean,
Toronto's going to worry.
They're going to have a shadow of doubt in their head. But a lot of Devils fans are out on this team. I'm not giving up hope. If there's a game, there's a game in my brain.
Yeah, and it's just a matter of getting through today and seeing what happens, and it's anything can happen. I mean, worst case scenario, we're done for the season, which would suck. Best case scenario, we have one more trip to the Prudential Center at least on Friday. We'll have to see. It would be great to see them win. Being there live on Sunday, it looked. Let's put it this way: Devils After Dark felt like a post-mortem, a complete post-mortem, almost on the season. With having it was fun having Scotty there. It was fun having Nick Villano there. Obviously Sam Wu was there, so that's fun. Where it just felt like a post-mortem on Sunday. So it would be great to see them win tonight. But the reality of it is if they want to win this series, they now have to do something that's very difficult, and they've got to win twice in Carolina, starting with tonight.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be difficult. There's no doubt about it. The Carolina Hurricanes are a really good team for a reason. They're going to go to the second round in all likelihood, in all likelihood in Capitals and in Treading. It's one of those things, though, like, I feel like I learned a lot about the Devils during this playoff series. You learn that their top guy can be top guy. And you learned that Sheldon Keefe got a team that have about 10 players not carrying their weight into the playoffs with a pretty good record. So there's a lot to work on in the offseason. I do think this playoff series made the holes on this team a lot more.
Yeah, on top of that, you can't discount the defensive injuries. I just got a text message from Brooke Amanda with the potential pairings for tonight defensively, like Chwalski and Hamilton, Dumoulin, White, and Casey and Nemec. Like that's a rough defensive back six, and that's just the injuries are just it's inescapable. What we've got there on the back line. So I don't know. It's if they can pull it off, man, it's great. I was really hoping that overtime win was going to be like a real galvanization moment for this team, but maybe not. I don't want to sound too dire. I'm excited to watch the game, and I'm looking forward to watching the game because I actually can tonight now. It's just we have to enjoy these games. Any of the games starting tonight could be the last of the season. It's just there's some work, like you said, that has to be done in the offseason. That's for darn sure.
Yeah, I mean, one of the major issues for me in this series, um, depth. Depth. I think I want to one goal have either Timo Meyer, Jesper Bratt, or Nico Heischer's name attached to it.
Mm-hmm.
That's not good enough. That's not good enough. The first two games they scored just one goal. You need to be able to have offense early and often in every game they play, and they just haven't gotten that in this series so far. So hopefully they can kind of right the ship and get a win here tonight. But over the summer, if they do end up losing in 5 and the holes are as glaring as they are, we're going to have a long offseason chatting about what will make them more competitive in a playoff series come next year.
There's the bottom 6 have forgotten how to put the puck in the net, and it's like you said, it's pretty glaring when you only have like 3 guys that are factoring in on all the goals, and for Timo wasn't scoring for lack of effort because he was getting shots. He was just getting absolutely robbed over and over again by Freddie Anderson, who I haven't had a chance to look. I'm assuming he's out tonight. So that is something I think the Devils need to kind of pounce upon. It's not like, and I'm losing it on how to pronounce today the Kochekov.
Kochekov, Peter Kochekov.
Yeah, there you go, Kochekov. I was going to say something else. So it's something that they have to take advantage of, with Kochekov in net, because we scored almost immediately on Kochekov, and then the Hurricanes did what the Hurricanes do. They clogged the middle. They made it really boring hockey. There was just a lot going on there. So they've got work to do, and that bottom 6. If the Devils are going to win, you've got to have the bottom 6 score. This makeshift defensive core has to play well above their pay grade, but you got to give Jacob Markstrom some goal support, because he was such a different goaltender when he had a goal scored for him and when he had nothing. There was a noticeable difference. Even though it was 3-1, when the Devils scored, there was a noticeable difference in Markstrom. It's just the goal support that he needs.
Markstrom had his up and downs in the season. Really, the downs were only following his injury. And then he kind of got back up. I'm seeing around the league, man, what's going on in these playoffs. The 3 Vezina Trophy nominees came out. They were Connor Hellebuck. He's been nasty in the playoffs this season so far. Andrei Vasilevsky. Pretty tough in the playoffs so far for Tampa Bay. And then Darcy Kemper. He was okay at times, but no, he's been mostly bad against the Oilers. And even in the first game that LA won, Connor McDavid went off on Darcy Kemper in the third period. And it's not like it's all Kemper's fault. The Kings turn into a pumpkin in the third period of every game they play, even the ones they won. And they're in trouble. I think they're in trouble. I really do. You can win the cup with Markstrom if he's playing the way he's playing right now. I really do believe that. Is he going to be this good? Is he going to be this good late into his, if the rest of this Devils team catches up? That's the issue. But I have no problem with Markstrom being the goalie next year and the year after, if that's what it takes. He's been great. He has been far from the problem for this team. The problem for me is depth scoring. And you're missing Jack Hughes. That takes a whole element out of your lineup. You can argue the Devils
totally does.
Either one game behind. They'd have an extra win at least, I think, if he were playing in this game. or in this series, the series would be tied. I believe that.
Mhm.
If not, Devils winning, because I think the Canes they haven't played awesome.
No.
Um, Especially in games 2 and 3. They won game 2, they lost game 3. They were the better team in game 1, and last game. But
Yeah.
Luke Hughes too, huge loss on the back end. When you take a guy out of the lineup who can produce offense and run a power play the way that Luke Hughes does, that's a whole nother element missing from your team.
Mhm.
I don't know if where the Devils are have anything to do with how they've handled injuries. Because I do feel like in playoff years where teams feel like they can win the cup, guys grind through it, they play. That hasn't really been
Mhm.
the case with the Devils. When guys are hurt, they miss even in playoffs.
Oh yeah.
So it's going to be interesting to see what comes out once they're done. I think the way they handled the trade deadline, plus the way they've handled injuries in the playoffs, tells you pretty loudly what they feel about their chances of winning the series or possibly going deep in the playoffs.
Yeah. Carolina. They were like I completely agree with your assessment on all the games to this point. They were not really all that great. Carolina wasn't all that great, but we were worse on Sunday. It's not like Carolina was like blowing us out of the water, but they did enough to stymie the Devils. And we couldn't, the Devils are looking for the perfect shot because they know Carolina's good at blocking shots and clogging the middle. And because they're looking for the perfect shot, they're passing a little bit more than maybe they should, just kind of put it on net. And I think that's going to be the key to tonight. If the Devils want to do this, you just got to put shots on net because you never know what's going to happen. Kochetkov could have a bad game, and we could make this 3-2 and bring it home. And then at that point, it's 3-game series that we're down, one game already. They just have to do it. The Devils have to come out strong, and that I think was the key to Friday's victory. And what they didn't do on Sunday was they didn't come out very strong. And Carolina came out; they got the first goal within the first couple seconds, and next thing you knew, it was 2-0, 3-0, and then it was a uphill climb from there. This Devils team just seems to get kind of like down on itself, and I don't know why. But Carolina's beatable. They are very beatable. They're difficult at home, but they're still beatable. They lost a bunch at home. And they lost a bunch to end their season. So they're beatable. That's the thing. The Devils just got to believe that they're beatable.
100%. It does seem like injuries are really starting to pile on. And again, they're just not. They're not finding ways to like grind through it or play through
No.
it. It just doesn't seem like it's one of those things where it just doesn't feel like it. And
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that makes sense to anybody, but like let's say someone on Colorado got hurt and missed a game. Everybody else would rally around and try their best. Like you would still feel like they have a sense of, chance, belief in
Mm-hmm.
themselves. It just doesn't feel that way with the Devils, and I don't necessarily think it's like a coaching issue. I think it's more like a player personality. Nico Hischier can only do so much. I don't think anybody expects Hischier to have 4 points a game in the playoffs, and carry them to victory that way. It's the doing the little things. He does score. He's got goals in 3 out of the 4 games. He's
Mm-hmm.
been magnificent, I think, in the playoffs. But when it's just him and Bratt and Meyer basically creating every goal, I'm pretty sure it was. Did Hischier assist on Nemitz team winner? Um, if not, then I think that's the only goal. That's the goal that one of them didn't factor in on in these playoffs so far. So that's definitely the one.
Yeah, I'm looking it up now.
He sure was on the ice, but I don't think he assisted on it. And good for Nemitz to get that
Yeah.
goal. I think that's a positive going into next season. He's going to come in going, me and Alexander Ovechkin scored our first career overtime playoff goals in the same postseason. Same thing with Leon
Seriously.
Draisaitl. Who's got all those postseason goals. So that's good news. I'm a little. Did you mention Casey in those pairs? Was he one of those players playing?
Casey and Nemec is the third pair. It's
I'm
a very
shocked.
experienced pair.
It is, but I'm shocked it took this long because one issue for the Devils in the playoffs, their biggest issue by far, has been offense, and or Casey at minimum brings offense. And if I'm Sheldon Keefe, I'm telling him, listen, we're on the brink. Be aggressive. Go out there and create offense. Go find a way. We'll pray for a save or two from Markstrom. Go out there and make things happen. That's what I'd be telling him if I were Sheldon Keefe.
Yeah, it's at this point you got nothing left to lose. You go out there and you do everything you can, and you have to. You don't want to have any regrets saying that, oh, I wish I would have done this or that or this or that in the last game. You just have to. You just have to do it, and you have to go out. And if this is where you're going to take chances, and I think it's one of those things where they're going to have to look at Markstrom and be like, Markstrom, listen, we're probably going to do some run and gun, so just be prepared for an odd man rush. It's one of those things. It's you've got to take control of this game, and that's going to start with getting right out there, go real heavy, real hard right away. And if we bring it back here on Friday, who knows? Who knows?
You plant a shadow of doubt in Carolina's head if you win the game today. I'm not saying you're going to win the series if you win the game today, but it's that thing like when you're up 3 or down 3-1. Okay, win tonight. You win tonight, you go back. Okay, Carolina, worst road record of a playoff team. And then you get that. You believe you get that win, and you thought about 14 game 7. When you get to that point, if you get back to work. So, see what happens. See if you can. It's going to be interesting. But where was
all right. Well, Vinny might be done, might be frozen. There you go, Vinny. You froze there. I'm not really quite sure exactly what you said.
I've never had that issue in the car before, ever.
And today is just the day. Today is just
like
the day.
Devils. You just get to the playoffs and things go issues for you. And I have nothing open on my computer. Everything asks me to do, I do it. Today it's just really giving me a hard time.
Yeah, it's what you know what it is. It's kind of representative of the way this team's looked in the playoffs. It's just not working right. But bringing in Casey, you mentioned the offensive ability too. Like we got to get someone to quarterback that power play and have a little bit of offensive pop to it. And it's you know what, the Devils have been a really good road team, so do that tonight. And like you were saying, like you plant a seed of doubt in Carolina's brain, and then they get, they start gripping their sticks a little bit tighter, and maybe they start making the mistakes, and the Devils start to capitalize on that mistake, but the Devils, I think, have to believe in themselves first, and they got to go into this game thinking they can win and like believing they can win, and you got a team that believes against all odds, and it could be completely different, and the series can completely flip. You almost have to look at this. You have to forget the first 4 games, and you got to say that this is what you're coming up is. You're coming in a no-lose situation in a 3-game series where you have to win 3 straight in order to kind of go. You have to really reframe that whole mindset and situation, and it's win or go home. It's win or go home, win or go home. And my hope is that these guys want to continue to play hockey, and that Jack Hughes Jack's hurt, but you got your Palats and your Hollas that want to keep playing, and your young kids that want more experience, and maybe you throw a kid like Casey in that completely changes the dynamic because he finally gets his first playoff start, and he wants to do everything he can to continue playing in the playoffs. That could be a spark too. It's got to come from someone. and you're making mention of being very happy with Markstrom. I'd be very happy with him as their starter for the next 2 seasons, and he seems to be a competitor and pretty good with his body. And if he can still do it, like, this is the one thing that we're not really worried about right now is goaltending. I know Survey was mentioned that he'd rather Jake Allen start, and I'm gonna have to disagree. I want Markstrom in. Like, that 4th goal that Markstrom let in was not good. I'll give him that, and sometimes that happens, but it looks bad when you've got no team, when your team's not scoring in front of you. That letting in the bad goal feels like it's compounded and worse. It's the pairing of Siegenthaler and Hamilton did not look good on Sunday. They looked like Siegenthaler looked like he had no idea what Hamilton was doing, or where he was going to go, or where he was going to pass to. So, and Sheldon Keefe's got to be the guy you got to be quick on any in-game changes you got to make tonight. Like, there's no, from the coaching staff to the playing staff to the players themselves, like, you've got to put it all out there tonight, because if you don't, you're done.
Of a goalie that's played at least 3 games in the playoffs. He is 6th in goals against average and 4th in percentage. So
this is
Markstrom.
Markstrom's
fault. Yep, Markstrom.
Yeah. He's letting in goals. Our defense is suspect, and the one goal, like I said, the one goal on Saturday was definitely, that 4th one was definitely on him. I mean, the first one, you could say there was a screen. For some reason, I can't remember the 3rd one. So it's but you're also looking like it's not like Hellebuck's numbers are phenomenal in the playoffs either. Like, it's looking pretty rough.
I must have misspoke. Those were good numbers. I said omitting Markstrom. He has the goalies that played 3 games. He has the 4th best save percent, or the 4th best save percentage, and the 5th best goals against average. And the people ahead of him, one's Anderson, frickin' of course. One's Gustafsson, who's helped the Wild stun Vegas into a tied series after 4, and Ottinger, who has a 3-1 series lead on Colorado. So,
and he's been pulled.
He's been one of the best goalies in the playoffs. Yeah, he's been pulled.
Yeah. And you know what I'm going to blame? I'm going to blame the Carolina Hurricanes fans for your internet, because I think that's the best scapegoat to blame your internet issues on, is the Carolina Hurricanes fans and their team. But yeah, it's Markstrom is it's one of the things. Markstrom is not the problem. There's just I know this from experience. You can't do everything as the goalie if you're getting no goal support. Like, it's hard. It's definitely hard to play well. But as soon as that first goal went in for the Devils, even though it was 3-1, Markstrom's game was completely different. He was going out more. He's being more aggressive. The Devils have to go out and score first. That's what I want to see. I want to see the Devils go out and score first, because I think that's going to help, because they did that in their win. They did that on Friday. The Devils scored first. Yeah, they let the Canes back into it, but they scored first, and they kind of commanded that game the whole time. So they got to do that again.
Absolutely. From everybody is to go into throw in your predictions so we could get this show on the road. I want to hear everybody's predictions. I'll read them all live on air as long as my stupid car internet works. I don't understand why it's been great all year. How many shows have I done from the car this season?
A few.
At least 10. At least 10. Better than house internet most of the time. So dumb. Let me hear that prediction. Get it in the chat right now. Shorts guy, while we wait for these to load up, who do you think's going to win this game?
I'm not gonna stop my string. I don't even know what I'm trying to say. I am not going to bet against the Devils tonight. I don't think I have all season. I am going to say the Devils are going to take this one tonight, give us one more party in Newark at least, and the Devils are going to win this game 6-4.
6-4.
An offensive
Okay.
explosion.
An offensive explosion. Okay. I like the sound of that. Sam Wu chimed in.
Mm-hmm.
He gave a typical Sam Wu prediction.
I'm sure he
He
did.
believes
I
the
haven't
New
seen it yet.
Jersey Devils. He believes the New Jersey Devils are going to win 8-2.
Okay,
8 to
I'll
2
take it.
victory for the New Jersey Devils. I mean, that would instill a lot of confidence, wouldn't it, if they won this game?
Mm-hmm.
To come to Newark, Carolina on a plane and go back to Newark when they could, in theory, beat the Devils tonight and say Montreal likely, but Montreal go down with that fight. So that'll be interesting. See if they were to win 8-2. But to read some of the ones in the chat, get them in quickly. I'm going to read them all, just because.
All right. Maybe you're, Vinny. Why don't I read them since we're dealing with some Carolina Hurricane fan messing with your internet. I've got the first one I see here is they have Max going with reverse psychology and saying 7-2 Canes. I'm only saying it because it's reverse psychology here. Let's see, Stephen Engel. Sorry, Stephen, I'm not going to read it because you're not tagging reverse psychology here. Jim Norton says 3-2 overtime, bringing it back to the Rock. I'll take it. Mikey Melillo, one of my teammates and a Ranger fan, calling a 4-2 Devils victory, bringing it back to the Rock. AJ Visco 4-3 Devils. Michael Rossi is blaming Spectrum Internet. Sorry, Michael. I'm going all positive tonight. Survey is saying 4-3, but he's not saying who. I know he's frustrated with this team, so it could be the other team. Brooke Amanda is saying 2-1. We have Mark Schwab is saying 3-1 Devils. Mark Schwab also threw something in the chat earlier that moving Casey to the wing, which is something we were talking on Devils After Dark the other night. Like Casey playing wing at some point, I think would be very interesting because he's an offensive talent, that's for sure. And to see him, as a forward would be great. Let's check, Vinny. You back with us there? You alive over there, or is the hurricane stolen your internet?
I am. Can you hear me fine?
Oh, there we go.
I'm gonna go with the Devils are gonna force Game 6 with a 4-2 victory.
Love it.
Let's go.
Yeah. Survey said your internet is how the team has performed in the playoff run. I would agree.
I would also agree.
I would agree with that.
I get a pit when this happens to me because I don't like being the one that has the bad internet and makes it difficult for everyone. But I will wear this one. I guess doing it from this spot is a no-no, and I will revert back to my original car park spot if I have to do a show from my car again next season.
There you go. Brooke Amanda is a little sad because it could potentially be the last Game Day Live until September. It's true. It's true.
It's true.
We'll have to maybe talk
Maybe we'll do a Woo report next week to kind of put a complete lid on it, knowing for a fact that it's the last one for us. Because then if we come back on Friday, we're going to sound like morons doing another goodbye.
If this winds up being the last one, we'll have to do something next week. We'll just do. I thought we had some other pop-up show titles that we were talking about, but we'll have to figure that out. We'll do that. Everyone should check their alerts because, hey, you never know when we might pop up on a random, on a random afternoon. Michael Hay says the Devils with a Casey game-winning goal. I would take a Casey game-winning goal. So, Vinny,
would love that very much.
Vinny, you want to send us home?
I would. Thank you to everybody all season long for watching Game Day Live, whether it was in my car, Shorts Guy down the street over in his South Shore studio, Sam Wu, whether he's in the bunker at American Whiskey. We do the show from all over. Shorts Guy was in Liverpool doing a show this season. I mean, that was freaking crazy. Or was that last season? Either way,
That was last season. That was in London. I was in
London. London, but we do shows from all over the world. It doesn't matter, even with a little spotty Wi-Fi. Who cares? We appreciate everybody for tuning in all year long. We hope this isn't the last one. We hope to see you Friday, but just in case it's not, thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. I can't wait for next season already. And as they always say, let's go Devils.